quite a lot of resolutions have been throwing, going back and forth. So many have decided as to some of the things they are going to achieve this year, some of the things they are going to do away with, some of the things that they are going to, or some of the people that they are going to work with, some of the people that they are going to roll with. Quite a lot of plans have been laid out this year. But one thing that happens as the year go by is that oftentimes we do forget, and we do face some certain things, just make us to forget some of this planned, arrangement. But I hope that 2025 definitely, just like we've heard in so many prayers, especially at the crossover, that it's going to be the best of years for us in Jesus' name. Welcome once again to the program. The program is the Daily Dose on Adamimogo 107.7 FM, where we bring to you stories making rounds in the national dailies. My name is Oladoyin Ayegbusi. Couple of newspapers this morning: The Nation, The Vanguard, The Daily Post, The Punch, as well as others, where I will be reporting as they are written in those dailies this morning. So let's begin with the headlines. And from the Punch newspaper this morning: subsidy gains, Labour scores government low as allocations rise by 1.7 trillion naira. That's the leading story in the Punch newspaper this morning. Drunk Zambian policeman frees 13 suspects to celebrate New Year. 7 killed, 31 injured in Gombe Fresh crash. FRSC. OT bans school levies, approves monthly allowance for principals. My absence from Tinubu's house visits not political. Bauchi governor. Unruly French court disrupting flights at Abuja airport. Sedated, deported, according to NCAA. Other headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning says that suit challenging new Owaobogun's selection not withdrawn, says family. Economic hardship will cost Tinubu 2027 re-election. NNPP. Akpoti empowers Delta women, and Biden to block U.S. Japan steel deal. Washington Post. These are the headlines reported in the Punch newspaper this morning. Let's see what's happening in the Daily Post newspaper, and I begin from this that says, I have never seen that in my adult life. Road survivor on food stampede. South Korean investigators call off attempt to arrest Yoon. Terror attack, United States now disaster, laughingstock at all the world. Trump. Nigerian police recover 3 projectiles, avert explosion in Borno. And Israel strike Hezbollah rocket launchers in South Lebanon. Troops foil potential IED attack, intercept terrorist carrier. Those are some of the headlines in the Daily Post. This is also saying Biafra. Tinubu refused to honor agreement to release Nnamdi Kanu. That's coming from his family there. New Year Eve murder, Ogun couple, son yet to get justice 2 years after. That's some of the headlines in the Daily Post newspaper this morning. And in the Vanguard newspaper this morning, federal government deficit spending rises 28% to 12.1 trillion naira. Rivers elders demand apology from Wike for insulting orderly. 2027, you've not agreed on merger with any political party, coming from Peter Obi. Ex-federal workers or ex-federal works controller killed in New Year Day in Kwara State. New Year, Pandef, Afenifere, INC, YCE, NNPP, others disagree over Tinubu's message. Federal government deficit spending rises 28 to 12.1 trillion naira. I took that earlier. Tinubu's refusal to honor Sheyi's pact with us, disappointing Nnamdi Kanu's family. And then PCVC invites Obasanjo to inspect Port Harcourt Warri refineries. Then, divorce rates in our society is disturbing. That's coming from Femi Falana. And that's some of the headlines reported in the Vanguard newspaper this morning. In the Nation newspaper, remain focused, disciplined in fighting insecurity. COAS urges troops. Atiku Kwankwaso be tragedy of force alliance. Stakeholder discussion, scholars against misleading fatwa. Mosque should be research centers. Tinubu bold reform will make Nigeria greater. Food security critical to government, says OT. Obi visit Jonathan, IBB, and Aliyu. And Rivers Elders, wicked trade wars over Fubara. These are some of the headlines in the Nation newspaper this morning. Let's go for this breather. When we return, we'll bring you details of the stories. Stay with us, everyone.
Hello, good people of Ekiti State and its environment. For your private, political, family, or club meetings, and so on, of not more than 50 to 100 participants, we introduce to you Adamimogo Event Hall. Yes, right at Olojudo's Palace, Adamimogo 107.7 FM's compound, Ido Ekiti. Ample parking space, good security, clean environment. You also have the opportunity to book for a media publicity of your event on our fast-growing social media platforms. All these for a talk. Simply visit us at Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti, or call the following numbers for more inquiries: 0803-526-5812 or 0916-340-0878 or 0806-511-4430. You can also call 0806-380-8891 at Adamimogo Event Hall. We are waiting for your patronage.
Just joining us, the Daily Dose on Adamimogo 107.7 FM Ido Ekiti is what you're listening to at this time for this day, the third day in the year 2025. Now, let's begin the details of some of the headlines we took earlier. And I start from the Punch newspaper, where the leading story saying subsidy gains, Labour scores government low as allocation rise by 1.7 trillion naira. Now, the details is saying that it has a rider. It says NLC slam governors for neglecting agri infrastructure. Opposition thumb down Bochi, Ogun, Bayelsa, others. Now the details is saying that the handling of federal allocations by state government has come under scrutiny from the Nigerian Labour Congress, opposition parties, and economists, as the 36 state government got a combined allocation of 5.22 trillion naira in 2024. Economists and relevant experts express contrasting views on the justification of the allocated funds. The scrutiny comes as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Wednesday emphasized the critical role of state governors in driving Nigeria's development and prosperity, claiming that this accounts for why 65% of the federal allocation goes to the state. Speaking during a New Year homage by the Nigerian Governors Forum at his Ikoyi residence, the president described their leadership as the subnational level as central to achieving food security, economic prosperity, and rapid national growth. This is just as the president expressed gratitude to the governors for their support and collaboration while highlighting key areas requiring joint effort for the nation's progress. Findings by the Punch newspaper showed that statutory allocations from the Federal Account Allocation Committee to the three tiers of government increased by 4.99 trillion naira to 15.212 trillion naira within the 12 months. The amount indicates an increase of 49.24% from the 10.14 trillion naira disbursed to meet their obligations. There were further details as to some of the, there were further breakdowns as to some of or how the state government has gotten their allocation. But NLC raises concern. It says, amid an increase in allocation to subnational government, the NLC has lamented that the masses have been deliberately neglected despite the increase in revenue received shared by state governors from the Federal Account Allocation Committee. The Deputy President of the NLC Political Commission, Professor Theophilus Undubuaku, raised the concerns in an exclusive interview with Newsmen. He says, and I quote, "These governors are receiving more revenue than before, but there is really no impact on the masses. Some of them said they are executing projects. How can you claim to be executing projects when the people, especially pensioners, are dying and many can neither buy food not drugs. It said a lot of things, and it's detailed in the Punch newspaper this morning. Again, the headline says, subsidy gains, Labour's cause governors low as allocation rise by 1.7 trillion naira. In the Vanguard newspaper this morning, federal government deficit spending rises 28% to 12.1 trillion naira. It says defies 54% increase in revenue to federal or federation account, overshoots 2024 deficit target by 31%. Now let's see the details. It says deficit spending by the federal government rose by 28% year on year on 12.1 trillion naira in first 10 months of 2024 from 9.8 trillion naira recorded in the same period of 2023. Thus, the federal government in the first 10 months surpassed its budget 2024 deficit target of 9.8 trillion naira by 31%. The increase in deficit spending was in spite of 36% year-on-year increase in federal government revenue during the period. Vanguard analysis of data in the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) monthly economic report showed that revenue of federal account rose to 20.214 trillion naira in 10 months. That from 12.07 trillion naira in the same period in 2023. See details of that business story from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Again, the headline says federal government deficit spending rises 28% to 12.1 trillion naira. All right, to other stories now in the Punch newspaper. This is saying economic hardship will cost Tinubu 2027 re-election and NPP. The Kano State Chairman of the Nigerian People's Party (NNPP), Ashimu Dongurawa, on Thursday warned President Bola Tinubu to prepare for overwhelming defeat in 2027. He said, going by the alleged anti-Marxist policies of Tinubu-led federal government, Nigerians had queued behind the party for the next general election in 2027. He expressed optimism that the NNPP would be victorious in the 36 states of the federation, including the presidential election. It says, and I quote, with your unfriendly anti-Marxist policies and your stance, just prepare for defeat in the next general election. You either change them or Nigerians will collectively change you. He said on Thursday. See details in the Punch newspaper this morning. Again, the headline, economic hardship will cost Tinubu 2027 re-election. And this newspaper, I have never seen that in my adult life. Road survival on food stampedes. The 2023 governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Lagos State, Gbadebo Road Survival, has said the queues for food across the nation during the festive season are an indication of is an indication of the hardship Nigerians are going through under the President Bola Tinubu administration. The Labour Party chieftain said he has never experienced such a scenario in his adult life. Recall that a number of stampedes where dead bodies were recovered across the country, including Abuja, the nation's capital. A similar incident occurred in Anambra, where not less than 20 residents of the Okija community died in a stampede that occurred during the event organized for the distribution of rights. Road 5, while reacting, said that there was nothing wrong in the government embarking on macroeconomic reforms, but faulted the government's lack of plan to cushion the hardship and effect that the everyday Nigerian would face as a result of such moves. It says, and I quote, you can have a macroeconomic plan if you are thinking that way. Then you should always understand the shock it is going to do on the ground. So what did you put in place? It said this on Thursday's edition of a program on a national TV. See details in the Daily Post newspaper this morning. I have never seen that in my adult life. Road survival on Stampede. In the Vanguard newspaper, Rivers elders demand apology from Wike for insulting orderly. Now, the details are saying some elders in Rivers State under the aegis of the concerned elders of Rivers State, have called for an unreserved apology from the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, some week following his recent derogatory remarks against former Governor Peter Odili, a respected elder statesman and founder of Pamo University of Medical Sciences. The demand was issued in a strongly worded statement signed by prominent leaders of the state, including former Governor Celestine Omai, Prince Uche Secondus, former Deputy Governor of the state, Tele Ikuru, former Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, Austin Okpara, Senator Ngoji Denton West, former Minister of Transport, Dr. Abiye Sakibo, and Senator Lee Meiba. Other signatories include Dr. Dam Jaja Alabo, David Briggs, Dr. Shadrach Akoloku, and among others. The others expressed deep dismay at Wike's recent insult directed at Dr. Odili, his family, and his medical institutions during an event at the church in Orogwe, adding that such behavior is not only unbecoming but also stands in contrast to the time-honored tradition of mutual respect, especially respect for elders, and difference in wisdom and experience that River State holds dearly. See details in the Vanguard newspaper as well as all other newspapers this morning. Rivers elders demand apology from Wike for insulting us. In the Vanguard newspaper still, 2027, we have not agreed on merger with any political party, Obi says. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Mr. Peter Obi, said there's currently no agreement between the party and any other opposition party for a merger. A former Anambra State governor spoke against speculations that the Labour Party had entered into a merger deal with the People Democratic Party, the PDP, and the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. Obi, who addressed newsmen in the State of the Nation in Abuja yesterday, however, didn't admit or deny the existence of merger talks, but he was emphatic that there was no agreement yet. He appealed to all of us of Nigeria, irrespective of political affiliations, to unite, because it was only in unity that the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, whom he said was mismanaged the nation's resources, can be defeated. See details not just in the Vanguard newspaper, but also some other newspapers this morning. 2027, we've not agreed on merger with any political party. And just to inspect Port Harcourt Warri refineries, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has invited former President Olusegun Obasanjo to tour its rehabilitated refineries following his public skepticism about the viability of the $2 billion invested in the facilities. Obasanjo, during a recent interview, questioned the progress at the Port Harcourt and Warri refineries, citing historical challenges faced during his administration in efforts to revamp Nigeria's refining capacity. He says, and I quote, "I was told not too long ago that since that time, more than $2 billion have been squandered on the refinery and they will still not work. If anyone tells you now that it is working, why are they still with Aliko? Aliko will not only make its refinery work, but also make it deliver," Obasanjo said. In response, NNPC's Chief Corporate Communication Officer, Mr. Olufemi Shoneye, acknowledged the former president's stature and contributions, but highlighted the company's recent transformation. He says, and I quote again, "We hold President Olusegun Obasanjo in the highest regard as a statesman who has significantly contributed to Nigeria's development. His observations are deeply respected. However, we wish to emphasize that NNPC has undergone a remarkable transformation." He explained that the company has shifted from a loss-making entity to a profit-oriented global energy leader. He also described the refinery rehabilitations as comprehensive overhaul designed to meet world-class standard distinguishing them from the less impactful turnaround maintenance of the past. Shonaya credited the achievement to the leadership of the NNPC board, led by Group CEO Mele Kyari and President Bola Tinubu's transformative energy policies. Shonaya invites Ambassador to assess the progress firsthand. Said, we warmly invite President Obasanjo to tour the rehabilitated refineries. His wisdom and experience are invaluable, and we deeply appreciate his guidance. Those were the words of Shonaya there, reacting to some of former President Obasanjo's claim this morning. NNPC invites Obasanjo to inspect Port Harcourt Warri refineries. It reported in the Vanguard newspaper. All right, 070470077701 or 0707276628. Those are the lines to call this morning to react to some of the stories being read earlier. Hello, good morning. All right, you can still call us again. The line is still open. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Iwe Kobo is on the line, sir.
Please go ahead.
Well, I'm going to appeal to the 36 governors of the Federation. It is very true that the Federation revenue allocation has increased tremendously. I appeal to them that they utilize it as being expected, because the president at the head of the affairs is trying. He has increased everything. But I don't know where the governor, I don't know how the governors are using it. I'm appealing to them that they use it accordingly.
All right.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you so much indeed. The line is still open, 07047007701 or 07072766278. Now let's see if we can get more stories to take. There is a story on Nnamdi Kanu where I want us to see some of the things that were said about him there. Okay, I got a story in the Daily Post newspaper and other newspapers this morning, but I'm reading from the Daily Post. It says, Biafra, Tinubu refused to honor agreement to release Nnamdi Kanu. That's according to the family. The family of embattled leaders or leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has said it had an agreement with President Bola Tinubu for the release of the Biafran agitator. Kanu's brother, Kanuta, disclosed that he had the pact with Tinubu's son, Sheyi, during the build-up to the 2023 presidential election, disclosing that the meeting had the blessing of President Kanuta. However, lamented that Tinubu has refused to honor the pact by releasing the IPOB leader. In a statement he issued, Kanuta said it was agreed that IPOB would not boycott the 2023 elections on the grounds that Tinubu would release Kanu if elected. And then the statement reads, and I quote now, before the last election, I received a message from an ex-governor that Sheyi, the son of Tinubu, wanted to see me. I agreed to meet him on the condition that the overriding priority and hence the fulcrum of our discussion will be the release of my brother. The meeting was held in Abuja in the presence of another individual whom I asked along to witness the deliberations and provide the independence verification should the need rise. Sheyi confirmed to me that his father sanctioned the meeting and that I should consider any agreement reached as binding on the then candidate, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In good faith, we agreed that I shall relay the outcome to my brother to reinforce the long-held tradition of IPOB not interfering with the conduct of elections either through boycott or any other form from the civil disobedience. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Yes.
Good morning.
Your name and where you calling us from?
Ade Falana from Aramoko.
All right, go ahead. All right, go ahead.
I want to talk on the elders from River State.
Okay.
Demanding apology from Wiki on Udili's comment.
Okay.
They said that they have come late. Before they have started about a year plus, and now they are acting.
when Udili has pulled the trigger and the trigger of the gun, and the gun has expired now. And if you know your anus, that is how to pack your anus, and you don't know how to pack it, the people will see the anus. And now the anus is now open now. And the beard that are lately.
All right.
This is not the time to settle this of this thing that as a trigger.
All right.
They are to call those people, those young men.
All right.
They are to call them and settle the matter.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are totally out of time now. We need to go now. I must say thank you so much indeed for the story I was reading earlier about Nnamdi Kanu's reported in the Daily Post and other newspapers this morning. And that's where we draw the curtain on this morning's edition of a Daily Dose on Adamimogo 107.7 FM. It returns next week. My name is Ola